The prevalence of security challenges in the country in recent times is so alarming. We become so concerned about the safety of students and staff in Lagos State schools. This incident that occurred in time past at Babington Macaulay Seminary High School and Lagos State Model College, Igbola, incidents of kidnapping that occurred in the time past in these two schools are still fresh in our memory. So the need to prevent such ugly incidents in Lagos State School again prompted the Honorable Commissioner for Education to call for an education and safety stakeholders meeting to discuss this phenomenon. Hence this webinar with the theme safety in Lagos State schools amidst the prevalence of security challenges in the theme of our webinar today. And to discuss this theme, if you are the Director General, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Dr. Olufemi Osoyintolu, the Director General, Lagos State Safety Commission, Mr. Lanre Mujola, the Executive Secretary, Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Corps, Mr. Bajulai Oyiwole, are the discussants for today's webinar. But the DG OAQA will chip in, will come in to discuss some of the issues that OAQA has been handling as far as safety and security in our schools are concerned. So it gives me pleasure to welcome you and to remind you, to present the agenda of today's seminar. The agenda of today's seminar, we are going to share the screen and the agenda will be revealed. Starting with introduction, a welcome address by the DG OAQA. OAQA activities as far as security and safety in schools are concerned. Mr. Abdul will present that. So in case the Honorable Commissioner is available, she will present her speech. Afterwards, the first speaker will address us on the topic. That will be Dr. Olufemi Osoyintolu, DG Lasema. The second speaker, DG Lagos State Safety Commission, Mr. Lanre Mujola. The third speaker will be the Executive Secretary, Lagos State Neighborhood and Safety Corps, Mr. Bajulai Oyiwole. Those are the three speakers that will address us today. Then the DG OAQA, Mrs. Abiola Seriki Ayeni, will come in to round off all that the discussants have said or have presented as far as this topic is concerned today. Thank you very much. So on this note, there will be, after the presentation, there will be questions and answer session, which will be coordinated by the Director General, Office of Education Quality Assurance, Mrs. Abiola Seriki Ayeni. At the end, the vote of thanks will also be presented by our amiable Director General. So I welcome you all to today's webinar. I wish you a fruitful discussion. Thank you. So on this note, I want to call on the Director General, Office of Education Quality Assurance to give us the welcome address. DG, ma'am.
She has joined in, but I think she's trying to connect to the audio.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's wait for the DG to give us.
Mrs. Oshobu, please unmute yourself for DG's welcome address. Hello, Ms. Oshobu. Please unmute yourself for DG's welcome address. Okay. I think we're having a bit of technical issues there. So may we move to the next agenda, sir?
So while we're waiting for the Director General Office of Education Quality Assurance to join us, so I would like to share my screen while discussing the activities of Office of Education Quality Assurance with respect to safety and security in schools. It's going to be an overview of the activities of Office of Education Quality Assurance. As you have it on the screen, the Office of Education Quality Assurance is responsible for ensuring standards in schools in the state below the tertiary level. This mandate is implemented through whole school evaluation and regular monitoring visits to schools. We carry out whole school evaluations and we regularly monitor activities and facilities in schools to ensure that learners are safe at all times.
Sorry, I think the DG is ready now. Sorry for that, Mr. Abdul.
Okay.
We're ready for DG's welcome address now. Okay. DG, ma.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Please, thank you for your patience. I'm coming on a bit late. There's something that has been going on. So I want to say a big thank you to the DG Safety Commission. And I'm not sure who else is here. It seems like we have mostly people from safety and from OEQA, and of course to all of our participants. We have 152 participants online, so thank you very much. It's raining here. It may be raining on your end as well. We thought it was really important and pertinent that we come together with our stakeholders, our schools, and that we discuss this issue of safety and security as expected during this time in the state, especially with what has been going on in the country. So I won't pretend to have all of the answers, but I know that we can definitely give guidance as to what is feasibly able, what can feasibly happen given your circumstances and given your resources. So we have the safety and security and emergency people here today that will shed some light on that. I'm hoping that during this time we're taking into account the importance of safety and security and the importance of being proactive when it comes to the safety of not just our students, but also our staff, also our teachers. So just having best practices to move forward. So I will hand it over to Mr. Abdul, who is the head of the Policy Research and Statistics department, and they are the owner of such stakeholder engagement programs as the one we're having now. So, Mr. Abdul, you're on. Thank you, and I wish us all happy deliberations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Abdul, please go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you, DG, for that welcome address. As I was saying before, while presenting the activities of the OEQA with respect to safety and security of learners in school, may I remind you that Office of Education Quality Assurance is responsible for ensuring standards in school in Lagos State below the tertiary level. This is our mandate. And we implement this mandate through whole school evaluation and regular monitoring visits to schools. In the course of these evaluations or visits to schools, premium attention is focused. We place premium priority on two of our schedules, quality assurance evaluation schedules. And these are care guidance and safety and learning environment. But apart from these two schedules, we also have other thematic areas that we focus attention on. And these are the achievement and standards, learners' personal skills and participation, teaching and learning, curriculum and other activities, care guidance and safety, learning environment. Then we also look at leadership and management. All these are the areas that we look at when we carry out whole school evaluation. And in fact, anytime we realize that there is any issue in school, we carry out monitoring visits. We carry out monitoring of activities and events in schools. So in the course of doing all this, so we realize that while looking at care guidance and safety of learners, when we get to school, we look at the safety protocols available in the school. What are the protocols that the school provide for learners to ensure that learners are safe and secured while in school? At the gates, what do we see at the gate? What are the protocols that the school has established at the gate, point of entry into the school? What are the protocols guiding the behaviors of learners in the school? So these are the things that we look at. We also look at their books. Do they have these safety clubs, such as Boy Scout, Girls Guides? We also have safety clubs. There is safety club that is encouraged by the Safety Commission, Lagos State Safety Commission. We realize that schools should establish safety clubs in this so that learners will join and learn how to learn a lot of safety culture, safety habits. Then apart from that, we want to see if schools have desk officers, key officers for safety in schools. These are the people that will supervise the members of the safety clubs and initiate activities for them. We want to see in the learning environment, we look at the learning environment of the school. How safe is the learning environment of our schools? While evaluating this, we start from the exterior of the school, the surrounding of the school. How safe is the surrounding of our school? How safe? What type of people inhabit the area, exterior, the outside of the school? What are people using that place? Do we have motor mechanics? Do we have woodlums around the school? Do we have hotels around the surrounding of the school? Do we have nightclubs? Do we have markets? All these things matter a lot, and they determine the type of security arrangement that you should put in the school. We look at the gates. We look at the perimeter fence of the school. Some schools have perimeter fence, while some schools don't have at all. Some schools have partial. The perimeter fence is broken down, part of it is broken down, and it allows for encroachment into the school. Some of these fences are so weak that it is easy for anybody to push down and penetrate into the school. So all these things that we look at, I will make our recommendations as to how to prevent that type of evil occurrence in the school. The school location, we look at the school location. Where is it located? Is it very close to canal? Is it very close to river or waterways? Where criminals can easily use to penetrate the school. So if we find such a place or such a situation in the school, there are certain things that security measures that we need to recommend to the school so that criminals will not use the backside, the water side, the river side to penetrate the school and commit havoc on the learners and staff in the school. We want to see if the school has boarding facilities. If the school has boarding facilities, there should be the boarding facilities, the hostels should have perimeter fence so that
Hello, Mr. Abdul.
There should be security. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, good afternoon. Sorry, I actually just wanted us to, I don't mean to cut you off, but I know that our presenters are here and I'm sure they're really pressed for time. So if they can have their presentation and whatever is QA specific that's not addressed in their presentation, we can take after. So if Mr. Lanre Modular is available, we can get started on the presentation.
Okay. Mr. Lanre Modular, sir. Please unmute yourself, sir. Let's have your presentation, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sorry,
Good afternoon, everyone.
I thought we were going to introduce you, but no one has introduced you. I'm sorry about that, sir. Mr. Larry Modular is the Director General for Lagos State Safety Commission. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. The Director General. OEQ. Permit me to just share my slide.
Yes, sir, we see it.
Okay, just a second. Just calling up my slides. Okay, my screen is hanging.
ICT, can you please help? Can you support us in doing this? Is there a way in which, I think if you go to, is it slideshow? And then if you go to slideshow and
Slideshow, or you can zoom in on your slides, sir.
it's showing the notes. Is there a way where you can?
The notes, sir. You just need to drag it down, or you can just press the slideshow, and it takes us to the slideshow. Okay, you can drag this. Yes, you can drag it down, sir. Yes.
Okay.
And then if we go to slideshow, how do we allow it to take over the entire
Once you
screen?
just play on the slideshow, it starts from the first slide. That play button. Or if you click slideshow, then from first slide. Okay.
Thank you. This looks great.
All right, that's fine. Sorry about that. Good afternoon, everyone. DP, OEQA,
Good afternoon,
other
sir.
panelists, proprietors of private schools in Lagos State. It gives me great pleasure to be speaking to you today on school safety. I've titled this A Shared Responsibility because I believe it's everyone that is responsible for safety. As we always say, safety first. And everyone is responsible, absolutely responsible for their own safety and the safety of their neighbor and inevitably their community. But before I go into this, I'll talk a little bit about the Safety Commission. So what's the Safety Commission? Who are we? The commission was established by the Lagos State House of Assembly in the year 2011 and has the mandate of being the policy formulating, advisory, and regulatory body for coordination of all government ministries, agencies, parastatals concerning matters relating to safety of lives and property in the state. And our mandate covers a whole lot of sectors from construction to the oil and gas, fire safety, school safety, food safety. I mean, wherever there's any form of human activity, there is safety involved. And as to support our mandate, we regularly carry out inspections, audits, we investigate complaints, accidents. We carry out intensive training and sensitization seminars, also not limited to advocacy across the state on matters concerning the state. So today I'll talk about school safety, and our main objectives are largely two. One is to ensure that our schools provide safe, healthy, and secure environments for effective learning. And the second is to promote safety and security policies in all schools. And how do we do this? We do this through a number of things. We develop knowledge and strategies for risk reduction. We encourage and promote stakeholder involvement as an integral part of effective safety management in schools. We ensure that we have systems in place and strategic interventions for the prevention and management of safety risks. And we also ensure that our schools need to be safe, self-regulatory. I think the key word here is really the provision of a safe learning environment, promoting stakeholder involvement in school safety management. So it's not you against us, it's not us against you. It's all of us collectively doing this, ensuring that our teachers, ensuring that our pupils are safe. And in trying to keep them safe, we typically work around what we call this safety management system. So in terms of safety, we can't just say we're safe. There's a process to saying you are safe. And the four main components really are safety policy. You need to have a safety policy. And what do we mean by your safety policy? It means defining the statement of intent. It means defining roles and responsibilities, processes of your establishment, which is your school. And then obviously, there's a level of awareness that needs to back this. And that means you need to invest in training, in proper communication, and also ensuring that from get-go, from start, there's a safety culture within the state. We talk about safety culture a lot, and this starts from leadership. It starts from leadership commitment. And obviously, we need to evaluate our risks, and this takes us into risk management, where we identify hazards and we ensure that they're nipped in the bud. So we need to have a risk assessment done. We need to investigate incidents and accidents and to learn from them to ensure that these things don't repeat themselves. And we also need to document them, and from doing this, we then learn how not to make mistakes going forward. And lastly is the safety assurance, which really talks about continuous improvement, continuous evaluation.
I last heard continuous improvement. I'm not sure if it is my internet that is acting up.
No, Ma, it's not. I think it just cut off for a minute there, and it's trying to restart his screen, Ma. It's trying to rejoin.
Great presentation. Thank you.
So we just wait a few minutes for Mr. Larry to join us back, Ma.
Okay, I need to. Okay, I think I'm back on now. I was cut off briefly. Okay. Okay, I'm back live. I hope you can hear me. Okay, so sorry, I was cut off there briefly. I was talking about safety assurance, which has to do with ensuring that on a continuous basis, our reporting systems have to be upgraded, and we need to also set targets for our safety performance benchmarking processes. How many incidents have we had? How many accidents have we had? Because this then continues to plow back into lessons learned reports. And lastly, there has to be a system of self-assessment and audit within our schools. So let's talk about some of the things that we look at in terms of reducing risks. There are three main steps to risk reduction within schools, and these steps will inform what is adequate, what is inadequate, who is at risk, the level of risk, and lastly, what needs to be done to either prevent or reduce the impact of risk. And by doing this, there are three main things we do, which is hazard identification. Like I mentioned earlier, we identify the hazards, the inadequacies. We carry out a risk assessment to know the people that are at risk, and then also now putting control measures to ensure that these risks are reduced and managed as much as possible. And in doing this, there is a necessity to now carry out a safety audit. And basically, safety audits are assessments of activities that you carry out in a school. The safety audits would throw up potential safety hazards that have the potential to cause harm, and again, recommend the most appropriate controls for a safe learning environment. The audit typically focuses around a number of activities, which is safety management documentation. Like I earlier mentioned, you need to have a safety policy. What is your physical environment like? Are your walls up to place? Do you have electrical hazards? Do you have trailing cables? Do you have security presence? And then again, management and leadership. Safety starts from the top. So the management have to be committed. You need to regularly train your staff, and you have to have, and lastly, every single incident or accident must be reported. This slide, we'll just go through a few slides. So this slide shows what? This slide shows a distribution board with all sorts of wires. A safety audit prevented a potential electrical fire at this school in Lagos. I mean, this fire, if it had crystallized, would have been another issue, and peradventure, maybe people would have been injured or lives lost. So all these things go back to nipping it in the bud. An accident does not just occur by itself. Something would have made that accident occur, and all accidents can actually be nipped in the bud if safety audits are carried out. This is another example of damp and mold. We see this a lot in our houses. We see this in public institutions. We see this in private institutions and organizations. Now, the dangers of dampness and mold are a lot. I mean, you'll realize that there's what they call the sick building syndrome. You find out that people, when they go into a particular building, they fall sick. They fall sick. They don't know what's making them fall sick. It's the sick building syndrome. It's things like dampness and mold that then affect their respiratory system. So you can actually send your kids to school and they'll come back home sick. So we need to start to identify some of these infractions and try and resolve them. This is another one. This is poor housekeeping. We see this a lot around our schools. I mean, poor housekeeping practices can contribute to incidents and injuries, but people can trip over them. You can have sleep and trips, you know. So these are some of the basic things that we need to take note of. Now, let's look at another area of concern. You know, I've been largely speaking about safety. Now, let's look at security. And the next slides will be silent slides to prick our conscience to what is happening in our nation. You can see from that picture, you can see some shoes left, some books, and a red bag just left out there. This slide shows a school in Zamfara State. And this is a model school in Lagos State. What are the issues that we're talking about here? It's insecurity. And I think it's one of the key areas that we need to look at. The statistics do not look good, so we need to tell ourselves the truth. How do we ensure that our schools are safer? I'll just run through this. In 2017, 270 girls adopted in Chibok, 6 students in Model College Ekpe in 2017, same year in May. In 110 students in Dapchi Yobe. And the list goes on until recently, a few weeks back, 30 students seized in Kaduna. So it highlights the societal problems that we are facing. And the truth really is, who are the at-risk groups and what can we do? And like I said earlier, safety begins with you and I. The specific target groups that these terrorists or these bandits are targeting are schools in remote or rural areas. Now, we have a peculiar situation in Lagos State where we have a lot of riverine areas. These are areas that are not easily accessible by road. These are areas that are high risk. Other areas that are high risk are girls-only schools and boarding schools. So what can we do? We certainly need to improve our security infrastructure. And this basically is to ensure that our schools stay protected, to limit the vulnerability from intruders, doctors, kidnappers, and any other external attackers. Now, while every school is different by location, service provision, student and infrastructure, the following forms the main interventions for making schools safe. Your schools have to have a very good, functional, fit-for-purpose perimeter fence. We've seen in the course of carrying out audits, we've seen all sorts of fences. So your fence has to be properly aligned. It has to be in structural integrity. It has to be lit. So you need to have fence lights that can show, that can light up places at night. We say that once it's lit, it reduces the level of crime. Criminals will not want to come to somewhere that is lit, or they will have to prepare to go the extra mile to prepare to attack places that are lit. So it's important for you to have a good perimeter fence. It's important for you to have good, adequate lighting. And then again, you need to have communication devices. Should that risk crystallize, should you have kidnappers or bandits, you need to be able to quickly communicate to the state government. I'm sure the DG Lasema in his presentation, he will talk a lot more about communication, the main lines that you need to reach out in the event that there's an emergency in the state. You also need to be careful about the people you allow into your premises. So in terms of visitor management, are you allowing just about anybody to come in? Because it's not everybody that comes into your facility with good intent. A lot of people will come in there, they're looking around, they're noting things that will become the loose ends. And if they're going to attack, it's through these loose ends that they will come in. Like we always say, we're as strong as the weakest link. So what they will be looking at will be the weak links within your school. And again, you need to invest in access control and electronic surveillance systems, where in the days of technology, let's use the technology, let's invest in them, let's try them out, such that when these risks crystallize, we're ready to go. Like the Boy Scouts saying, always be prepared. So we're talking about your perimeter fencing. Like I earlier mentioned, we've seen all sorts of perimeter fencing, but your fencing should preferably be block work on a solid foundation, preferably a wrap foundation or pile if it's in a waterlogged area. Because what then happens is this increases the level of safety and security, reduces the risk of intrusion and unauthorized entry, and also enhances student supervision and boosts the morale of these students and also their well-being. Aside this, I mentioned security lighting. It's very important. This serves as a deterrent to intruders. It increases the probability of identification. And also, we can also invest in motion lightning detectors. So this also provides an element of surprise to would-be intruders. Access control, I mentioned that earlier. This can be electronic or simply a visitor management system. It's very important and it's a fundamental component of infrastructure security. And it will definitely provide with well-defined entry routes and points. It will limit the access points. It will be able to gather information on visitors, identify, verify identification, and also curbs transit even within the schools. So, like I earlier mentioned, this is shared responsibility. Safety is shared responsibility. It begins with all of us and it stops with all of us. And one of the things we want to see further is the establishment of safety clubs. And we've started this in a number of schools. We're working with a number of schools in partnership with the OEQA to ensure that we now have defined curriculums in terms of our safety clubs. For the purpose of those that don't understand what safety clubs are, these are made to stimulate children and youth in issues around security, issues around traffic safety, how to cross the road, how not to cross the road, understanding what the zebra crossings mean, and also other areas like domestic safety, working in the kitchen, personal safety, when you're out there in the public, how do you behave? If there's a fire incident, if there's an unforeseen circumstance, what do you do? And some of the things that will be taught in the safety clubs are things that will help to make our pupils, our students, our youth more responsible if there are societal hazards. Aside this, we also would like to see more established competent persons. We call them competent persons, people that have an element of safety training in schools. They can also be termed as HSC officers. Somebody has to have that responsibility, and they will be the ones to coordinate training on safety and security issues. And also regularly undertaking self-regulatory exercises. These are things like drills. Students should be sensitized to drills, such that if the event crystallizes, they know exactly what to do. Our students are very brilliant, they're very sharp, their brains are open, they pick up things quickly. So what we need to do is to get them into a routine of emergency preparedness. If the disaster crystallizes, they're ready to move, they're ready to go. And obviously, community intervention, it's very important. You're just as good as secure as your environment. So it's important that our facilities, our schools, have regular security meetings with their community. It's not just about I'm in this school, I'm not involved in the security of my community. It's very important to ensure that they attend community meetings, and also their own private security should be vigilant, aware of surroundings. Schools should encourage lines of communication with the community, and also even include the community in their emergency plan. Your security personnel cannot be overemphasized. It's important that you have the right set of people to provide you security. This also has to do with involvement with your local police station, probably need to pay a visit to the local DPO, establish lines of communication, because at the end of the day, this prevents perpetration of crime. Security personnel also would help to monitor and manage access control points, protect and guard students from harm, and respond to emergencies where necessary. As part of our school safety initiative, some of the things we've done, basically aside establishing the school safety clubs, is we've also trained 157 staff members in private and public schools on little things like first aid, emergency preparedness, hazard identification. Aside this, we've also trained 350 school safety prefects across the state, because what we believe is that once these students understand the principles of safety, they can take it away with them. And these safety prefects will be the ones that would now be coordinating the safety clubs and ensure that they keep an eye out, they identify hazards, they're ready to go when emergencies crystallize. We also intend to introduce what it's called the school safety file. This basically is a means where there's managing safety and security in the learning environment. So it's a documented process that you need to follow through, and involves regular risk assessments, etc., with the wholesome aim to reduce likelihood of harm for our pupils, for our teachers, and for visitors coming into the school. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for listening. I'll still be here for the question and answer session. So if you have any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer. Thank you very much.
No, not video. Hello, sir. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. We have over 200 people on now. And I know that I learned a great amount from your presentation with safety, especially with the school intervention program that you talked about. And I know that the OEQA is really hoping to partner more with the Safety Commission in this regard. I think we have one more presentation is Dr. Osayantaluzi here from La Siema ICT. Do we have the second panelist on?
Yes, ma. We have the DG, we have Dr. Olufemi online, ma. Dr. Olufemi, sir. Please unmute yourself. Okay.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm representing, I'm the Director of Strategy, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency.
Okay, that's why I was confused. Okay, well, I didn't see his name. You are welcome, sir.
Yeah, I'm caring for him.
Okay. Are you going to do the presentation?
Yeah, he has a state assignment to attend to.
Yes, I totally understand. Okay. Are you going to do the presentation? Do they need to share your screen, or are you going to just speak to your presentation?
Yes, so we are going to show it. I'm going to show it on the screen. You'll see it now.
Okay. ICT, please assist. Thank you.
Sir, you can share your screen, sir. Hello, Dr. Olufemi, sir. Can you share your screen? But you need to unmute yourself, sir. Hello, Mr. Abdul. Mr. Abdul, sir, please
hello,
on the agenda.
we have a kind of challenges. I'm going to read. I was unable to share it because it's in PDF and it is not supported by Zoom.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
I'll start presenting now.
Okay.
So it is an overview of emergency disaster management in Lagos State. The Lagos State Emergency Management Agency was established by the LASEMA Law 16 of 2018 for emergency and disaster management in the state, in pursuance to Decree 12 of 1999 as amended by Act number 50 of 1999, which established the National Emergency Management Agency. The agency is responsible for the overall coordination of emergency management in Lagos State, working closely with all its relevant stakeholders. It came into existence in February 2007, and the legal framework establishing LASEMA was signed into law on July 22nd, 2008 by His Excellency Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN. The mission of the agency is to instrumentalize an emergency management plan that will foster political commitment, awareness, and participation, intersectorial and agency collaboration, and sustainable development, including protection of life, property, and the environment. Why the agency feature is for prompt, effective, efficient response to emergency and disaster management in the state. The core value of LASEMA include working better together, teamwork, prioritization, dedication, customer-centric, risk assessments, critical response, and partnership. The responsibility of the agency include the following: be the umbrella body to coordinate the activity of relevant agency in prevention and management of disaster in the state. Develop the development of loss prevention program and procure necessary technology to mitigate, identify emergency situations, prompt and adequate response, as well as sustain intervention in any form of emergency or disaster in the state. Coordinate activity of stakeholders and NGOs who jointly carry out strategy for emergency stroke disaster management in the state. Provide relief materials or financial assistance to victims of various disasters in the state. And also respond promptly to any emergency at hand, which include, but not limited to, the following: firefighting, coordinate with Lagos State Fire Service, flood control, collapse building, evacuation, search and rescue operation, environmental pollution, crowd control, and colony of affected area.
Hello,
Public
sir.
enlightenment.
Hello, sir. I'm sorry to intervene. I just wasn't sure if you were going to present, if you're going to share your screen, or if your presentation was going to be verbal the entire time.
We are, what is?
Because I don't see your screen. I wasn't sure if it was a, okay. I wasn't sure if it was a mistake.
You said
okay.
We are. That's why I've already said that before, that I have a challenges in sharing it. That is in PDF.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure. If it's in PDF, you can still share that also.
I can send it via WhatsApp.
Okay. ICT, please, once it's received, if you can present, I think that will be helpful for those listening in to be able to see as it is presented.
Send it to you, ma'am.
Okay, you can send it to me, sir. Thank you. These are part of the challenges of the new normal. Yes, you may. Thank you.
Can I continue?
Please go on, sir.
Can I continue?
Yes, sir, please.
Perform general saving activity, life-saving activities, including provision of relief materials, and preparedness and response to biological and health threats in collaboration with key stakeholders. Clear and remove objects that constitute the carcass or the mean of incident. The Lagos State Emergency Management is using incident command system. And the incident command system is a management system designed to enable effective and efficient incident management by integrating a combination of facilities, equipment, personnel, procedure, and communication operating within a common organization structure. The primary role of incident command system is to establish planning and management function for responding partner to work in a coordinated and systemic approach. This function can include using common terminologies, integrating communication media, creating a unified command structure, and coordinating resource management and allocation and planning. This is possible in Lagos State. There is what we call a command and control system, where all relevant stakeholders reside. The LASMA, the fire service, task force, the RRS for security, and LASEMA as the coordinating agency. If there is any emergency and a call comes from outside that there is an emergency in any place within the state, it will come to the call center. The call center will escalate it to the control room, and the control room has a supervisor who will then decide if it is fire. The leading agency that will go is Lagos State Fire Services with support of the fire unit of LASEMA, and the police, the RRS, the LASMA to provide security. And that is how it has been working. That is working better together. In rescue and rehabilitation and recovery, it is important to say it is important that proper trauma treatment is available to the people. There are times when safety measures result in having to manage the fallout by ensuring a safe haven for rehabilitation. That's why Lagos State Emergency, as a state emergency in Nigeria, is the only state emergency in Nigeria that can boast of two relief camps. One at Agbowa, that is serving the Lagos East Senatorial District, and there is another one at Igondo, which is serving the Lagos West Senatorial District in Lagos State. And the third one is currently at the incubation at Lekki Axis to serve the Lagos Central Senatorial District. Also, the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency currently strengthening the pre-hospital management of the state. Why? Because you find out that when there is an emergency, before you can rush people to the hospital, many people died. But why must you take people to hospital? There are some trauma that can be treated at the site of emergency by using triage. And that's why the agency is strengthening the pre-hospital system of the state. And currently, the agency has stationed its ambulances in working in consonant with LASAMBOS. Planning for the future. The agency in planning for the future of the agency and to strengthen disaster management in the state. The agency currently have multi-stakeholder advocacy and information dissemination, and currently the agency has already established a marine unit to improve safety on water. There is also increased fleet to adequately manage Lagos traffic flow through the use of our tow truck during the peak hour. There is also a better cooperation. We have a better cooperation with other states. We do facilitate with other states. We do share our knowledge with them. And now we are adopting a holistic view to safety practice in collaboration with the Lagos State Safety Commission. And lastly, in line with the team agenda of the state, we are able to key into it. We have ambulance service, as I already mentioned, for pre-hospital care. That comes under health and environment. Recovery and traffic management by using our heavy duty equipment. That is come under traffic management and transportation. We always do public education and sensitization on emergency and disaster events. Also, we have what we call school emergency response team in our schools. We use modern technology, drone and other things for effective and efficient response. And we also collaborate with local emergency. We have what we call local emergency management committee in all our local governments. And currently, the agency is also working with the local government to train local emergency response cadets, because all emergency is local. If there is an emergency, it is the community people that will be the first person at the site. Whereby, if the state is able to build their capacity, if we are able to build their coping capacity in detecting, in having early warning, and whereby they can start response, our response time will be improved to 5 to 10 minutes. That's where we are moving towards. And also, we collaborate with relevant security agencies in protection of lives and property. And currently, the agency is working in collaboration with Ministry of Justice, Department of Domestic Violence, and what have you. And that is why currently 112 is for emergency, life-threatening issues. Why 767 is number 767, a toll-free number. 767 is for non-emergency issues. In conclusion, safety is the underlying principle of all LASEMA activity for the people of Lagos, the hardworking men and women of the agency. LASEMA activity fit into the overall Lagos State team agenda on transportation, health, environment, making Lagos a 21st century economy, education, security, and governance, to achieve the objective of making Lagos a resilient, smart, and safer city. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much. Abdul. Mr. Abdul, sir, Dr. Olufemi is through with his presentation.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dr. Olufemi, represented by Mr. Bangoshe Olushola. We want to thank you for that wonderful presentation. You have told us a lot of things that we need to do and what your office has been, your organization has been doing to ensure safety and to prepare learners or school environment to take care of, to respond to events, eventualities as far as safety issues are concerned. We thank you so much for that presentation. So at this point, I want us to go back to what I was saying earlier on, as far as what the OEQA has been doing to ensure that safety and security arrangements are properly put in place in our schools. So, as I said earlier on, so we talked about, I talked about learning environment. I talked about care guidance and safety. So we are working on learning environments now. So we said that presence of boarding facilities in school. If we have, not all our schools have boarding facilities, but we realize that boarding facilities has been the soft target for these criminals, kidnappers, and what have you. So we need to fortify security around our hostels in schools to ensure that these hostels are perimeter fenced and other security arrangements are made. As the presenter from safety, Lasema has said that we need to control movements in and out of our schools. The same thing goes for the hostels. Whoever is going to the hostels, if not the students, even visitors are not allowed in the hostels for now. So all these things should be put into consideration. I want to talk about the effort that government has made at the time, the effort that government has made so far to ensure that security and safety, security arrangements are well security is well provided in our schools. For example, when that incident happened in Ikorodu and Ebola, government fortified most of the boarding schools, the public schools, with perimeter fencing, solid perimeter fencing. The government provided watchtowers in schools to ensure that whatever movement around and within the school is easily detected. The lighting up of schools, government provided security lights in most of our boarding schools, especially the model colleges. So to ensure that all the efforts of these criminals their efforts do not materialize. So the government has tried a lot. Even apart from that, the government provided security personnel, drafted soldiers and police to move around the school premises, the school environment, so that any untoward movement, untoward criminal activity is checked in time. So from there, we realized that we have been enjoying relative peace in our schools in Lagos State. But in recent times, when we started hearing of kidnapping in the northern part of the countries, so we have to redouble our efforts and ensure that incidents such like that don't rear their ugly heads in Lagos State schools. So we are making this preventive, we are suggesting these preventive measures that pick up and dropping and pick up of students should be well monitored, even in the schools. Some schools can afford CCTV cameras. The monitoring of dropping and pick up of students with CCTV cameras is something that we want to suggest now, so that anybody that wants to interfere with the security of these children is easily identified and proper report is made. We also want to recommend giving to drivers or whoever comes to pick up students This identification card should be verified by school security, so that nobody just come in to claim that he wants to come and pick a child while he's not the person that is properly supposed to pick the child in the school. So we want to monitor that through the use of holidays, and they're about to, the boarding students are on holidays. Whoever is coming to pick them must show identification, have this identification card start before they are allowed to take it. Hello? To ensure that the schools devise a system to detect unannounced absence of a student. This has to be red flagged so that immediately action should be taken if they realize that a student is missing in the school. Appropriate action should be taken to carry out a search for that child. So these are the things that we are trying to suggest in schools. Incoming, the flow of the movement, there should be security check at the gate. Whoever is moving in or coming out should be properly checked. If vehicles that are coming into the school or going out of the school should be properly checked, so that there is no, to prevent the kidnap of children, students in the school. So these are the things that we are recommending for school owners to include in their security arrangements. So in the event of any incident in our school, we have provided reports, incident report forms on our website, the website of OEQA, which is www.oeqalagos.com. So this provides an avenue for report of any incidents in Lagos State schools. So just click on that oeqalagos.com. You will click on About Us. After clicking on About Us, the form will come out and you fill the form. Anybody, it doesn't mean that you have to belong to that school before you can report incidents in that school. It and take appropriate measures. Thank you very much. So at this point,
Okay, sir. So I'd like to employ participants to please use the chat box for any question and answer they have. We have one comment in the Q&A session anyways, from one of our participants, Mrs. Morris Ogiziem, says, a wonderful presentation on safety in Lagos State. Please, can we have soft copy of your presentation sent to our email, our mailbox? Please, let's have your comments and questions in the Q&A section.
I see. ICT. Fauziat.
Hello, sir. Yes, sir.
Will you undo that question?
Hello, sir.
The idea of sending soft copies to, I said, will you handle that question? The idea of sending soft copy of the presentation
It's
to
the
individual
soft copies
emails.
of the
Will you
presentation the soft copies of the presentation that we have at the end of the webinar, I'm going to confirm from the offices that have presented if the soft copies are available. If it's available, I'll send it to the email of the registered participants. If the soft copies are available.
Thank
Yes, sir.
Okay. I hope that answers that question. Do we have other questions?
Okay, we have some
ICT?
questions coming in and coming into the chat box. Mrs. Ifoma Kenechuku is saying, what is the procedure for, 1 second, please, let me just get that question straight. What is the procedure? Sorry. Okay. Okay, I think we just had more questions coming in. And okay, what is the procedure for establishing safety clubs in private school? I think this question is directed to Safety Commission. What is the procedure for establishing safety clubs in private schools? This question is from Mrs. Ifoma Kenechuku. Please, can we have a representative from Safety Commission to please address that question?
Thank you very much. It's not difficult. It's just write to the DG Safety Commission requesting that you want to set up a safety club, and then we'll have our school safety team contact you. While writing, please copy the OEQA so that they're aware of what's going on. But it's not a difficult process at all. You can write and send a letter to us directly.
Very well, sir. Thank you for that response. And I hope the participants can now know that it's a very simple procedure. Just write to the DG of Safety Commission, copy OEQA, and they'll have officers come down to your school to guide you on that. Please, we have another question from one of our participants. They want to know, are there emergency numbers that can be called if a school is under attack before going on the website?
The Lagos State emergency number, I've already mentioned, is
Okay.
112. 112 is toll free.
Okay. So I hope this answers the question. There are toll-free lines, 112. So you can call that number at any time, 112. That's Lagos State emergency number before you go on the website. Okay, somebody also says, nice presentation. I just want to advise the Lagos State government should also partner with Navy in beefing up security along the coastal area. Truth be told, the presence of Marine Police is not felt along the waterways. So this is a contribution from one of our participants, advising Lagos State government to also partner with Navy. Thank you so much for that contribution. Somebody wants to know if we can have the contact of the presenter for more conversation and presentation in our general meeting for more circulation of information. I'm not sure if you can have the contact of the presenter, but our email address is info@oeqalagos.com. And any concerns you have, you can just send us an email to info@oeqalagos.com. I think so far the engagement has been, people have commented that it's a very nice presentation. They've learned a lot, and they're just generally saying kudos to all our facilitators. And on that note, I think the Q&A session is, I think I think that's all we have in the Q&A for now. Mr. Abdul, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, ICT. I just want to add that it is not enough to have these emergency numbers. We have 112, we have 767. But it is also important that we escalate these numbers here around our schools. We publish this and we publicize it so that everybody is aware that this number exists and they can always call if there is any issue of emergency in the school. So it now behoves on the school leaders to ensure that this number is well circulated within the school, even among to the parents, to other stakeholders of the schools. So that's what I want to add to that. So it has been an interesting program, and I want to particularly express our profound appreciation to all the participants, the panelists, the representatives of the DG Safety Commission, the DG, the neighborhood is not here now, DG Safety Lasema, who were ably represented by their officers. So we want to appreciate you. We want to appreciate all the schools leaders that are in attendance on this program. We quite count on your support to ensure that our schools are safe and our learners are secured, and our schools are secured and our learners are safe to carry on learning, teaching and learning activities. So we want to thank you all for the time that you have spent. We thank you for the wonderful contributions that you have made. We always count on you and expect that anytime we have webinar of this nature, we will always call on you and you will be there for us. Thank you very much.
So are we going to have DG's vote of thanks? DG's remarks.
Thank you so much on that note. I'm here. I would say like to thank our partners within the safety commission, have the time, and of course, the urgent commission also. Thank you so much for today. I want to thank our schools leaders and
Hello, DG Ma. I think the line is breaking, Ma. I think on that note, we have come to the end of this webinar. Thank you, everybody, for joining. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Sorry, I got disconnected. I was just
okay.
All of our different stakeholders. So I wish you all a fantastic remainder of your day. God bless you all, and thank you again.
Amen. Thank you, Ma. Thank you, everybody.